Welcome back to New Rockstars. This is the big question of the show that gives you too much information about how to clean up any mess without leaving a trace. That's right, your mother will never know that you broke the lamp that's been passed down in your family for generations. All you have to do is enlist the help of several government agencies and pass a few laws through Congress. Easy peasy. Getting things through Congress is always super easy. There's no problems at all.
Flies right through Congress.
Flies right through. It's like there's soap on the ground. And it's just like, whoa. My name is MT, and I'm here today with off-screen producer Brandon. What's going on, Brandon?
Hello, MT. I definitely broke a family heirloom and never told my mom about it, but she must know by now. She must have figured it out and just took pity on me. Mom, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry.
Brandon's mom, if you're watching this, he didn't do it. We should keep up the illusion because it's been this long, so it's like, might as well commit. He didn't do it, all right? I saw him. I was with him that day. We were watching Iron Man together. Just don't even worry about it.
MT's my lawyer. He's a very good lawyer.
What's our big question for today, Brandon?
Well, MT, with the dissolution of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the MCU following the revelation it had been infiltrated and influenced by agents of Hydra?
Whoops.
Whoopsie doopsie. Did I let Nazis in my government agency? Whoa.
Apparently it happens.
But they took down S.H.I.E.L.D., so now we've really lacked a centralized federal force to oversee superhuman activities. We got to keep those heroes in check, right? So yeah, S.W.O.R.D is on the rise for sure, but their concerns appear to be more Omega level and less like day to day.
Right.
You know, they're not busting stuff on the streets. They're worried about putting robots back together and hanging out in space and flip-flops and drinking Mai Tais. But it all leads us to this week's big question. How does the DODC work within the U.S. government of the MCU?
Okay, the Department of Damage Control. All right.
Yes,
we've seen a lot of the Department of Damage Control, better known as the DODC in the MCU lately. Most notably, Agent P. Cleary was shown in both Spider-Man No Way Home and Ms. Marvel, investigating the abilities and activities of both Peter Parker and Kamala Khan. But the DODC has been in the MCU for much longer than that. In fact, it's been there since the very beginning of the MCU, way back during the events of the first Iron Man film. But what exactly does the department control, and how much power do they actually have? And how have they changed over the years? Let's see if we can try and figure all of that out together, my beautiful nerd babies. Shall we do it? Shall we? I think we shall.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's go back to the beginning. See, that was some Hillary Duff. Was that Hillary Duff? I think it's Hillary Duff. The song stuck in my cranium somewhere.
I don't own all of Hillary Duff's albums.
I don't have a Hillary Duff shrine under my bed. What? The Department of Damage Control was originally not its own autonomous federal department. In fact, it started as just a team within S.H.I.E.L.D. Agent Phil Coulson first references the team during the Iron Man film set in 2009. And apparently, the Damage Control team wasn't even that much of a secret, because before Tony's now infamous I Am Iron Man press conference, you can see on a TV a news crawl mention that the Damage Control officials would be issuing a full report on the duel of Los Angeles within a few days. So, as much
Which
as
is
S.H.I.E.L.D.
crazy. I never knew that battle between Iron Man and Ironmonger had like an official name. The Duel of Los Angeles. I mean, we talk about the Battle of New York all the time. The Duel of Los Angeles is where it all began. I didn't know it was official.
If all this crazy stuff is going to happen in the MCU, I feel like every event has like a crazy name. It's like the Duel of Los Angeles, the Great Ant Battle of where Anthony died.
The San Francisco Ant Chronicles, right? When they're going through the streets or whatever. But if you guys haven't seen the first Iron Man in a long time, go back and watch it again. It's crazy how much gets set up in that first movie. And they had no idea what was coming. They didn't even know. They threw Samuel L. Jackson at the end as like a joke. Like, we'll just give him a little thing at the end. I mean, he says the Avengers initiative, which is a little strange. It's crazy how much gets set up in that. And yeah, it's like almost a throwaway line that Coulson has, and they put that little thing on the news crawl. There's so many weird little things hidden in that movie that come back later in the MCU. It's crazy. It's great. Even a Roxxon mention, which is going to, I'm sure, become huge in the next few years.
Oh, yeah, bro. If Roxxon does not show up in Thor Love and Thunder, I will be shocked. Because,
okay.
My God.
You think it's
those
time?
Asgardians are all about energy. And, they have all that Bifrost energy.
Oh, okay.
And also, I feel like King Valkyrie has access to the Odin Force, which the Roxxon probably wants a little bit of. It's like, Let me get some of that. So yeah, we're definitely going to see Roxxon. And I do love how Kevin Feige was thinking a million steps ahead from the jump, from the first film. He was like, let's set up S.H.I.E.L.D, let's set up damage control, let's get freaking Samuel Jackson with his beautiful bald head at the end of the movie. It's gonna, oh man, like he is the ultimate 4D chess master.
Oh, he is. And such a fanboy. I mean, Sam Raimi talked about during the Spider-Man movies, he was like, let's get Wolverine in here. Let's throw in some other characters. I mean, they have the Doctor Strange mention in Spider-Man. Like he was trying so hard to get this stuff in these movies. He's like very smart about it all. And yeah, you're right, MT. We know Roxxon is going to be big in the future, right? We saw that in Loki. They're a big part of Earth's culture in the future. They become like big. So they got to show up soon. So
yeah, so as much as S.H.I.E.L.D. might have been a secret organization at the time, their damage control team was not that much of a secret, it seems.
I think they were kind of like a known government agency, but no one knew what they really did. They just had like very high level clearance. And they'd roll into town and be like very mysterious about it. Like we saw that in Thor, right? They kind of roll into New Mexico and everyone's like, who are these guys? Like they must be somewhat known within the universe already, even before all this superhuman stuff starts happening.
Well, like we do know that, Captain Marvel was on the scene in the 90s. And so like she started making some damage at the time. So maybe Captain Marvel was the reason it was making a little bit of damage. That blockbuster definitely needed a damage control team. For sure.
Well, S.H.I.E.L.D. certainly existed, right? Because Nick Fury was working for S.H.I.E.L.D. And it was probably like holdover from, we know that it's a holdover from what the SSR was, right? And they knew way back in the day that there were things like the Tesseract and, there were powerful forces out there. So S.H.I.E.L.D. was always around kind of operating at this high level. And people knew about them. I'm sure like other government agencies knew about S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm sure plenty of senators always knew because they were like, where's all this money going? Why do we need S.H.I.E.L.D.? And they'd take a couple of them to an office and be like, there's aliens out there. Don't ask questions. Much like Area 51. Release the aliens. Let them out.
Free the aliens. What are you doing? Jesus Christ. Aliens
I'm gonna Naruto run at that wall and get those aliens out of Area 51.
It's the only way to dodge the bullets, Brandon. The Naruto run.
It's the only way.
So editors, please edit Brandon Naruto running, please.
I'll send you my home footage of it. I've been working.
My home footage. It wouldn't be long before this damage control team became more powerful because in 2012, following the Chitauri attack on New York in the first Avengers film, we learn that the Department of Damage Control now exists. When Director Ho comes in to stop Adrian Toome's crew from cleaning up after the Battle of New York, and she references Executive Order 396B as placing all cleanup operations falling under the DODC jurisdiction and creates a new villain in the process.
Yeah, way to go, lady.
Without the Department of Damage Control, we wouldn't have Vulture and the Tinkerer and Shocker 1 and Shocker 2.
My guys, I got a whole crew here. We got families. You can't take this job away from us. We need this job.
We need this job, man.
That was a little John Travolta, I think. That was a little Welcome Back, Carter. Yo, Mr. Gata, we need this
job.
All these
John Travolta was Vulture.
Oh, come on, Spider-Man. I need this job. Come on.
What
last
job?
You gonna take my daughter to prom? Yo, Peter, you gonna take my daughter to prom? Ooh, what's going on? This is crazy.
He opens the door and it's John Travolta, but Peter's just shocked as John Travolta and not that he's Vulture. It's like, oh my God, it's John Travolta.
I mean, John Travolta kind of is Vulture. He's a pilot. He knows how to fly. He's flying up there in the sky right now. We never know where he's got. At the
end of Greece,
a runway.
They went right into the sky.
He flew a car into the sky. He's got a runway that leads right to his house. Like he can leave his front door, get on his plane, and fly somewhere. He is the Vulture.
Yo,
he's bald now. He's bald. MT has become the Vulture. We gotta stop him.
He's slowly becoming. He's assembling a team at the end of Morbius.
Oh my gosh. We'll crack the case.
And this show shows us that the DODC falls under the executive branch of the government. And if you need a civics refresher, our US government has 3 branches. The judicial branch, which covers courts and evaluates laws, the legislative branch, which covers Congress and makes the laws, and the executive branch, which covers the president, their cabinet, and most of the federal agencies tasked with carrying out the laws.
And that's how the government works. And they all get along, and there's no problems, and they treat us with respect.
There's never any problems at all. Also, so if the DODC is an executive agency, it means it was set up by the President of the United States. And then, at some point, the President can ask Congress to pass some laws to give the DODC some authority. And it's probably very similar to how the Department of Homeland Security was set up in our world. Because following the events of September 11th, President Bush created the Office of Homeland Security to coordinate a comprehensive national strategy. Then Congress passed the Aviation and Transportation Security Act, which formally turned the Department of Homeland Security into a cabinet-level department.
MT, it created the TSA, and hasn't that been great for all of us? Taking our shoes off at the airport, putting all of our liquids into tiny little bottles, never taking mail files onto an airplane ever again. It's been great. No problems.
Dude, like I had to go on the internet to see feet. Now I don't have to. I just have to go to a TSA line and wait for someone to take their shoes off.
There's nothing more disrespectful than the benches after the TSA where everyone's tucking their shirt back in, putting their belts and shoes on. What's happened to us? In my day, you used to be able to walk right up to the airplane. You could kiss your loved ones goodbye right on the tarmac. They'd let you go in and shake the pilot's hand. You could push all the buttons on the plane, they didn't care. You could sit on the outside of the plane if you wanted to. We all inflated our vest inside the plane and put on the oxygen mask and had a party. You could eat steak on a plane with knives and forks. It was great. But you are right, MT. Like the government creates these like the president can create a department, and then like Congress can like vote to give that department like power. And then the president has a cabinet, right? We're all familiar with the cabinet, and only 2 people on the cabinet serve at the discretion of the president. The rest, he has to like nominate someone, and they get like approved by the Senate to like be on the cabinet, right? So it's kind of a mix of while like most of the departments are fall under the executive branch, they get their laws and their power from the legislative branch. That's how like a bicameral government works. That's how we checks and balances, baby. That's how it all works. But it is interesting to think because within the MCU, they kind of had the same history as America, right? And then President Ellis became the 45th president within the MCU, meaning Obama was the 44th president in the MCU. And I think the way this lines up, Obama set up the Department of Damage Control. He kind of made them autonomous because he would have been president during the attack on New York when all this happened. He still would have been president because we know Ellis is president during the events of like Iron Man 3 and during a lot of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff. But I'm pretty sure Obama created the Department of Damage Control. But he sets up the DODC. And then he's like, I'm done. Goodbye. You're on your own. And then Ellis takes over, and he's done a okay job. I don't know. He's not been the best president for the MCU.
I mean, he had a supervillain of a vice president who got him kidnapped in Iron Man 3. So I don't know about that.
It happens.
Basically, just another day at the office.
It happens. I mean, the vice president had a daughter that needed help from the Extremis Project, so I guess it makes sense. Or granddaughter. I don't know.
It happens. Hey, Spiro Agnew tried to get Nixon kidnapped. It's okay. It's okay.
Man is flawed. It just happens sometimes.
It happens.
A big old whoopsie, just like having Hydra in your whole ass shield. But yeah, it would make sense that following an alien attack on U.S. soil, that the president and the U.S. government would want to have more control and authority, especially over any leftover alien technology. And since S.H.I.E.L.D. has failed to stop it, it's likely the executive branch in Congress wanted more oversight into how the activities of superhumans would be handled. And while they handled the big jobs like cleaning up after the Battle of New York, and they also showed up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to clean up after an attack by the Watchdogs in Naperville, Illinois. And it was probably smart that the government separated the damage control from S.H.I.E.L.D. because, as we learned in Captain America: Winter Soldier, S.H.I.E.L.D. was actually infested with Hydra. Whoops! Don't do that.
Whoopsie.
You gotta.
Everybody makes mistakes.
Whoever was the hirer, whoever did the job hiring for S.H.I.E.L.D. immediately needs to get fired.
You're done.
Or it's probably Hydra themselves.
I mean, HR might have been Hydra. That's the problem.
That's what the H stands for in HR. Hydra recruiting. HR.
Yeah. They should have known something was up with HR when there was a sign that showed up in the S.H.I.E.L.D. office that was like, if you don't clean out the fridge on Fridays, we will execute you. That's how you know there's a problem. That's how
we
you
will
know.
execute
Too
you.
extreme.
Hail
Too
Hydra,
extreme, HR.
smiley face.
Hail Hydra. Yeah, it's the little octopus with a smiley face. Hail Hydra.
A cute smiley face, just like, just being super cute. It's like, we'll execute you, no big deal. But while S.H.I.E.L.D. was dismantled, the DODC lived on. In fact, we learn that they were tasked with cleaning up the blown up helicarriers and the Triskelion following that battle.
What is going on?
Damage control. They're still cleaning up from when Captain America took down those skycraft carriers for no reason.
Which, you know, I guess would make sense considering that's a whole lot of mess. A whole lot of mess to deal with.
Whole lot of mess.
And since S.H.I.E.L.D. was no longer in charge of all things superhuman, it would make sense that the DODC would grow in their authority. And it's no surprise that we saw them in Spider-Man No Way Home, since they had to deal with Spider-Man before. We see them cleaning up after the robbery at Queens Community Bank that Spider-Man stopped and got a whole ass convenience store blown up. But luckily, the cat survived.
Yeah.
I don't know how the cat did that, but I would like to think that that cat's a flurkin.
Hey,
secret flurkin.
9 lives. 9 lives. Oh, secret flurkin confirmed.
Flurkins have 18 lives. That's what makes them special. But by the time we see them in No Way Home, set in 2024, they are with the cops that arrest Peter Parker at his home. And so they're no longer just doing cleanup, they're just arresting teenagers and ignoring people's rights, which Aunt May and Mary Jane
love arresting teenagers.
MJ. It's their favorite thing to do. Miss Marvel, when they saw Miss Marvel, they were like, oh boy, it's the best thing in the world. Arresting more
Another
superpowered
teenager. Another teenager. They don't arrest him, I guess. They bring him in for questioning, right?
Yes.
But again, like, they love questioning teens without a lawyer. Like you said, we see it in Miss Marvel. Like, when they're interrogating Zoe, it's like, teens, learn your rights. Get a lawyer. I don't care what the DOD says. Never speak without a lawyer.
Why do you want a lawyer?
If I have nothing to hide,
Exactly. Unless
I'm actually guilty of something. I'm very aware of your tactics and my rights.
Just answer my questions.
Do not speak to any cop or anybody without a lawyer. Like, they'll try to tell you that you have to talk to them. You don't have to talk. You don't have to say shit.
Stick to the script. Why did you pull me over? Establish that stop. I'm not discussing my day. Am I being detained or am I free to go? If detained, you say I invoke the fifth, and then you shut the up.
Do not say anything without a lawyer. Sorry, that's just general, just good advice. Anyway. So they're no longer just doing cleanup. They have investigative authority now. And we saw the stack of files that Agent P. Cleary had on our boy Pete. So, like, you saw that stack of files that Agent P. Cleary had on our boy Pete. Like, they do their homework on these people. And they also show up at Happy Hogan's apartment after J. Jonah Jameson tipped them off. That snitch!
Come and get your snitch!
I can't even believe you.
How dare you?
Just do your job as a reporter. Why you gotta call the cops, you freaking weirdo? They only had a lizard in their van.
Nothing to see here, please!
Yeah, right. They saw that lizard and they're like, no, thank you. Yeah, they've been going after Spider-Man for a while, right? That was probably their number one target. They're like, we gotta catch this Spider Menace. Like, he's doing all this stuff. They've been watching him for a while. Yeah, it is interesting to see how much they've grown in their authority, because you're right, MT. Without S.H.I.E.L.D., there's no one doing this work. And we see in Miss Marvel, they reference the FBI. So, like, the FBI still exists within the MCU, but they need, I'm sure the FBI is busy with all the other stuff, right? And they've set up this DODC. They're already dealing with cleaning up alien tech so they can be trusted with, like, the sensitive files. And now it's clear that Congress has given them more authority. They're able to work with the police to get warrants, to do investigations, they're basically doing everything S.H.I.E.L.D. was doing before. And we now know that, like, they're really tracking superhumans and they're on the case about it and looking into it. And we'll get into this a little bit, but I think it could play an important part going forward as they need to find superhumans.
That's very interesting to see where that goes. And now they're interested in Kamala Khan as well, like we said before. So where do we think the DODC will go from here, Brendan?
Well, I think, they're going to keep having a ton of power. It's clear they've been watching people. They're putting together these teams or whatever. Erik Voss has a theory, and I think it might be right, that, our good boy, Agent P. Cleary, he could be like a Skrull. Like, that's how they're tied to S.W.O.R.D. in a weird way. Because, like, S.W.O.R.D's doing other stuff, but they probably each need to know what's going on. And if S.W.O.R.D's watching the skies, someone's got to watch the ground, right? And that's where the DODC comes in. So I think they're really looking for these superhumans, in a way to, like, get ahead of them, So before they can become villains, they can just be aware of what's going on. But B, because I think things are about to change and get very interesting, and you're going to have more people with inherent abilities.
Hint, hint.
Their genetics get X-ified, and all of a sudden they need to know where all these mutants are. And I think that's what the DOC is going to do. They're going to find the mutants. We got to get these muties. Yeah, yes. I think the DODC is eventually going to be the main force looking for mutants within the MCU. I think that's what they're going to eventually get onto.
That would be crazy. And then like the Sentinel program could probably come from the Department of Damage Control.
From the DODC.
That would be bananas to set up.
Yeah.
My God. That would be so crazy. Because
they have all this alien technology. They can build Sentinels, and the Sentinels get out of hand. I would like to see Sentinels that like just move beyond their masters, right? Like they're like, we don't even listen to you anymore. You gave us too much AI. We're too strong. Almost like Ultron ×2. What if Ultron? They start the Sentinel program, and Ultron infiltrates it because he's been hiding in the internet, and he's back.
Surprise, bitch. I bet you thought you'd seen the last of me.
And it's like Ultrons and Sentinels mixed together.
Bro, either Ultron or Zola, bro. Like, those two are just
Zola,
problems.
baby. Oh, yeah.
Zola, like, oh my God. Zola's an opportunist to the max. But yeah, my God, that would be a crazy scenario because I could totally see that happening, especially with like Ultron Infinity also being a factor in the MCU now. Like, he could just come back if he loses the gauntlet. It's like, all right, now I'm just going to come in and just...
he breaks out of his little crystal
ball, crystal prism. But yeah, anything can happen there. I would love to see that. I would love to see Sentinels come from the Department of Damage Control. But personally, I think that the Department of Damage Control could actually be a huge factor in the upcoming Armor Wars series, because we know from Spider-Man: Homecoming that the Damage Control has a huge vault of stuff. Like all this armor and technology, and like they're keeping it.
Oh, that's a great point.
And like, why are they you're just gonna keep all this stuff here just to sit and gather dust? I don't think so. I think that there's going to be entities that want to sell that stuff or just use it for their own ends to make weapons to defend their various countries and whatnot.
And they probably inherited everything that S.H.I.E.L.D. had fell into the DODC's hands. So yeah, that whole vault is probably stuff they've collected since, but all the prior stuff that S.H.I.E.L.D. had. I feel like the government had less control over S.H.I.E.L.D. I mean, they clearly were funding S.H.I.E.L.D. and gave them authority, but I think they've set up the DODC where now the US government has much more control over what they do and what they're up to. But I think that's not necessarily a good thing that the DODC has as much tie to the government, because like the wrong person gets in charge, we could have a problem. Like
Captain America said in Civil War, agendas can change. And like giving people especially like government organizations power in the MCU, it's just that's just like setting them up for having a really bad person be in charge and abuse that power. Yeah. So like I feel like they're setting that up for some sort of thing. But like I think that it's very likely that we could see them hunting mutants or just Inhumans or any superpowered people down in the MCU because the Sokovia Accords are still in play. Like those are still a factor in the MCU. So like we have to round up the people that aren't following it. So yeah, anyway,
round them up.
Round them up. But here's the question: do they have more authority than S.W.O.R.D, our newest MCU organization?
I feel like on the ground, the DODC probably has more authority. Like I feel like S.W.O.R.D is still kind of secretive. Like they're, we saw with like the WandaVision Hex, right? They were able to mobilize, get military units out there, set up the perimeter, shut down the town, do all that kind of stuff. But I feel like the DODC probably has more like day-to-day authority. They're the ones working with the police. They're the ones like you said, like keeping files on people, keeping tabs on people. Yeah, I think S.W.O.R.D has more secret authority, like the big stuff. Like S.W.O.R.D is probably dealing with the Tiamat or whatever. They're dealing with that problem out there. And they probably do have more authority overall, but we don't know it yet. It hasn't been flexed yet. But as for who's flexing their authority right now, it's the DODC. They're really running the game. right now.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And I think that S.W.O.R.D just has a completely different jurisdiction, like completely. It's just like we're just monitoring, sending in weapons and stuff. Like we're not really cleaning stuff up. So like we're just being nerds up here. You guys do the real policing. We're just nerds up in space.
Yeah.
So yeah,
for sure.
I feel like I don't really think it's a matter of authority. I think it's just different like things that people do.
Yeah. Well, I think it's how you look at like the CIA and the FBI. Like the FBI works domestically. The CIA is not supposed to work domestically. They're supposed to work outside the country. They maybe have worked domestically and maybe still are. I don't want to say anything. Don't come after me, CIA.
You said too much, Brandon. This will be Brandon's last big question.
If you never see me again, I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything wrong. But yeah, I think it's like S.W.O.R.D is like outward looking and DODC is like inward looking. And that's how it's working right now.
Yes.
That's how I see it.
I think that makes sense. That's a really good observation, Brandon. But that is the DODC in the MCU in a nutshell. I cannot wait to see what Agent Cleary is up to because that man, untrustworthy face. I'm sorry, actor.
You mean Skrull? You mean Secret Skrull?
Skrull, man. Ooh, my goodness. If he's part of the Secret Invasion, we called it. Well, Erik called it first, but like, my God, I would love to see it.
We get to ride his coattails. We'll ride Erik's coattails. Yes.
If he's the villain of the Marvels, I would be shocked. I'd be like, oh my God.
Shocking. He seems really angry about Kamala. He's very, I don't know. He doesn't like teenagers. We know that for sure. But he seems like he wants to find this. I mean, you said it, MT. You said it. You said it. Stop harassing me on GTA Online, teenagers. It's not fair.
Seriously.
Shut the up. Thank you.
I'm pretty ridiculous. But hey, we do have a brand new latest Obsession shirt up over at newrockstarsmerch.com. It's called Cosmic Daydream, and it is inspired by the new Miss Marvel series. Have you heard of it? Have you watched it? You should, because it's freaking the best. And Kamala's dad is the most wholesome man of all time. And I better see many
what a good man.
Papa Hulks at cons in the future. We need to dress up as our favorite Abu.
What a good man.
And like all of our latest Obsession shirts, this shirt is limited edition and won't be available forever. And when you purchase this latest Obsession shirt, you unlock the ability to get a custom shout out on Inside Marvel, our Miss Marvel after show hosted by Erik Voss and me, MT, the man who says random things. And this is also your last chance to grab our Obi-Wan Kenobi latest Obsession shirt as well. Because that's right, we have 2 latest Obsession shirts available at the same time. I don't know how we did it. We have the technology.
It's crazy. It's insane.
We are breaking the laws of physics. So head on over to rockstarsmerch.com right now to buy both of them. And just, it's an amazing way to support the channel. We really appreciate it when you do. And yeah, and before we dive into our bite-sized questions next, some words from the people that help bring Big Question to you. People like Avast. Avast is a global leader in cybersecurity for more than 30 years and trusted by over 435 million users. Have you seen that many people? That's a lot of people. Avast empowers you with digital safety and privacy, no matter who you are, where you are, and how you connect. Avast's new all-in-one solution, Avast One, helps you take control of your safety and privacy online through a range of features. Avast offers a ton of features, such as a PC speed up, which optimizes the background activity of your apps in order to speed up your PC. And they also have Smart Scan, which will find and remove viruses and resolve the most common privacy and performance issues through an optimization scan. And their award-winning antivirus will stop viruses and malware from harming your machine, which is the most important thing you can do. We don't need viruses. We've had enough of viruses in 2022.
Yeah, enough viruses. Protect those machines.
Down with viruses. Avast One offers both free and premium options. And I like their data breach monitoring, which lets you know when you need to change passwords that may have been compromised. And sometimes those companies don't let you know your information may have been leaked, but Avast One will, which is very nice of Avast. Thank you, Avast. You're the best. And we want to thank Avast for supporting Big Question. Avast prevents over 1.5 billion attacks every month. And with Avast One, you can confidently take control of your online world without worrying about viruses, phishing attacks, ransomware, hacking attempts, and other cybercrimes. So learn more about Avast One at avast.com. Again, that is avast.com. Avast One, thank you for sponsoring this video. You guys are amazing. Now, Brandon, it is time for our bite-sized questions. Nom. Delicious times
a bite-sized
for all.
question. I don't know if there's one.
Oh, up on top. Oh, you got it, Brandon.
Up on top.
Now, Brandon, Could Hercules beat the Hulk? And this is from Blazer Raygun on Twitter. Thank you, Blazer.
Ah, yes, Hercules, who we're hoping we might see in Thor: Love and Thunder. I don't know.
We gotta.
Come on. Put the Herc in there. But the question is sort of tough to say, right? You know, as we know, the Hulk is pretty much unbeatable. As the more you attack him and you make him angry, the stronger he gets. The more you hurt him, the stronger he gets. You know, his body can find workarounds to like any problems. So if you're gonna beat him, you have to kind of find like a weird little gimmick to just kind of knock him out, right? You never really beat the Hulk. You just kind of win that little battle.
Subdue him.
Yeah, but Hercules himself is also pretty much unbeatable. If you don't know, when he was a little baby infant, he sipped some of Hera's breast milk, so he has mystical invulnerability. Plus he is a demigod, you know, son of Zeus. So
just
he has
like
superhuman
Percy Jackson.
strength. Just like the Perseus of Jacksonus. So he has superhuman strength, speed, agility, and stamina. Plus he has an intense healing factor himself. Now, these two are both usually good guys, but they have come to blows a couple of times in the comics. You know, they always got to find someone strong for Hulk to fight. But the fight is usually interrupted by someone, or like something else happens, or something weird is going on. So they're never like, I'm gonna fight you to the death. No, I'm gonna fight you to the death. It's just like a little skirmish. And with most battles against the Hulk, you never really beat him. You just kind of get lucky and like knock him out, or something happens and he falls
just get
asleep,
lucky and don't die.
Yeah. And it seems like in most of the battles that Hulk and Hercules had, like Hulk ultimately wins, but like, you know, sometimes it depends on whose comic it is, right? Whatever the story's gonna be is what it kind of depends on. I do think that the Hulk can like heal faster than Hercules, right? We saw this in the MCU where like he spits out a tooth, but Banner has all of his teeth when he's back to Banner. So it's like the tooth like grows back instantaneously, right? It's like we talked about this before on Big Question. If you put the Hulk underwater, he just like learns how to breathe water. Or he can just hold his breath forever. So it's like he just heals too fast. Whereas I think Hercules maybe takes a little longer to heal. So I think Hulk will always have the advantage there. So I think, yes, the Hercules could beat the Hulk, but I think most of the time the Hulk's gonna win that fight. I think he's just so powerful.
Well, I feel like that makes a lot of sense considering that the MCU version of Hercules wasn't trained by Phil from the Hercules animated movie.
It's true.
Who makes true heroes.
Hey, Disney owns them both, MT. We could see Phil in the MCU.
Seriously, oh my God, bring Danny DeVito inexplicably. Just put Phil into the MCU.
Live action, Danny DeVito.
Oh
Danny
my
DeVito,
God.
Put Pan's legs on him. He'll be fine.
Kevin Feige, please. People will love you forever. I mean, people already love you forever, but my God, it'll be hilarious. But yeah, no, thank you, Brandon. That makes a lot of sense. And yeah, I feel like it really depends on which book that people are like.
It's more of a plot question than like a science question, right? Whoever has the most plot armor is going to win that fight.
Pretty much. That's how Marvel rolls sometimes. But that's comic books, baby.
That's comic books, baby.
Here's our second question, Brandon. You're ready for it. Are you ready?
Okay. I'm ready.
Now, who is the wealthiest character in the Star Wars universe? And this is from TryHardest98 on Twitter. TryHardest, thank you. Hopefully you're not trying too hard. Just settle down. Blood pressure doesn't need to elevate that high.
I think we have like a few main contenders here, okay? We gotta look at like Jabba the Hutt, right? He basically controlled all of the large criminal activities allowed to continue under the rule of the Empire. You know, he kind of made a deal with the Empire, they wiped out all the other Hutts, and Jabba was left standing, and he got to run. Basically, any big time crimes that are going on, he's getting a little taste of it. So he's pretty powerful, he's pretty rich. Pretty liquid in his assets, okay? We also have to consider Count Dooku, okay? He had a lot of family money, and he basically paid for most of the Separatist droid army. Like, that basically came from his family wealth.
Dooku had buku bucks.
Dooku has buku, it's true. And he also, if we remember, like, the Jedi Sifo Dyas, right? He's the one who started the clone army. And then Dooku kills him and then like kind of pretends to be him to kind of continue to oversee the clone program. And I bet like some of his family money is also going to the clone program. I'm sure, you know, what are they? Caminoans? Camino, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure the
Caminoans.
Caminoans, like every other week, were like calling up who they thought was Sifo Dyas. It turned out to be Dooku, and they're like, "Hey, yeah, sorry, we're gonna need some more money here. These guys are really eating. They're eating a lot. Dooku's like paying for droids, paying for clones, overseeing this whole puppet war, and he's like, "What is going on here?" So he's pretty rich, really. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's got to be Palpatine, right? He's the money man.
He's the emperor.
He basically has unlimited funds. He oversees everything. At one point, he's controlling both the Senate and the Trade Federation. They're under his control, so he could get money from whomever he wanted. And then once the Empire just takes over, he basically nationalizes all the banks, so he controls the banks. Now, Vader had a lot of wealth too, because Vader's like a very high-ranking person within the Empire and has wealth, but it's only because it's what Palpatine lets him have, right? Plus, Palpatine got all of like his former master, Darth Plagueis' money. Darth Plagueis had a lot of money too, a lot of wealth.
Ooh.
He just gets all that. He kills his old master and he gets all that money. So it's Palpatine, baby. No one touches Palpatine.
It's got to
And
be
I don't want to hear about
Plus-
Prince Caesar in the comics, or in the comics, okay? They'll be bringing up Prince Caesar from Shadows of the Empire. Like, he's probably rich, but he's not canon yet. He's still Legends for now. So until they bring him in, we can't consider him. Palpatine's the money man.
Like, Palpatine's so iced out that he has a big-ass kyber crystal powering his Death Star. So, like, that's just, he just got
He
ice
can
like
afford
that,
to
man.
rebuild the Death Star. The guy's got money.
Right? 3 times. My God. But yes, thank you, Brandon. You are a genius of a man, and I appreciate you very much. But now it is time for our box of scraps. A box of scraps.
Oh, baby, put him in the game with a box of scraps. They put it in the game with a box of scraps. They put it in the game with a box of scraps.
Now, Brandon, if you had to run a new government agency, what would you choose to oversee?
Oh, I got the answer for you, MT. Okay. Now, some of you might consider this part of the FDA, but we need a new department just to handle sparkling water. Someone has got to get these sparkling waters under control, okay? The flavors have gotten too insane. We gotta restrict these flavors.
I love my pineapple orange sparkling water. Delicious.
That sounds okay. But some of these the government has got to stop LaCroix's coconut flavor. It's terrible. It's gotta be destroyed. We can't have it anymore.
Is it that bad?
It's that bad. It's that bad, MT. Someone has got to oversee these sparkling waters. They need to be stopped. They're out of control. We got to get these things regulated. Now, I know what you're saying. The FDA, that's the FDA's job. No. They don't do taste. They're just making sure there's no rats inside of our sparkling waters. I'm going to be in charge of taste, quality, and bubbleness. Some of these don't have enough bubbles. Some of them are not sparkling enough.
You know,
But
I agree.
that's my department.
I agree. There needs to be enough, like some seltzer waters, you just crack it open, like, I'm just drinking water, like slightly,
barely
like a little
fizzes.
bit, it's barely fizzing. Nah, we need to put some more bubbles. More bubbles in that.
I'm gonna make sure Topo Chico is available everywhere because it's not available in enough places. It's the best. Topo Chico, you don't sponsor us, but please, there's a Topo Chico.
Please sponsor us.
No one knows. How do I say it?
But no, it's a good one. I like that one. Sparkling water. I feel like that there's no rules. Sparkling water is just running amok. So we need someone to oversee them.
It's out of control.
But no, for me, I think I would choose, if I was gonna run a government agency, I would probably oversee the production of all Hollywood sitcoms. Because back in my day, Brandon, sitcoms used to be filmed in front of a live studio audience. They don't have that anymore. It's always a laugh track. It's always just, and like back in the day, you had to earn your jokes. You earn your laughs. You don't have to earn your laughs anymore.
I see.
When I'm in charge, I'm gonna make sure every sitcom is filmed in front of a live studio audience. If you're gonna use a laugh track, no more. Those days are over. I'm sorry. I just have a weird passionate about this type of thing.
MT, I hate to break it to you. I think a lot of those old shows, even when they had live studio audiences, they were still implementing a laugh track because you can't always trust the audience to laugh correctly or at the right time, or maybe they're laughing weird. So there was a live studio audience, and maybe sometimes they were using it. But I think they were still tweaking it. But I like it, MT. You're gonna make sure there's no tweaking going on. It's gotta be good
tweaking. I want
to get
real
the laughs. As a kid, I was always confused how the Flintstones had a studio audience. Like you could hear laughing when you watch the Flintstones. This is how dumb I was, MT. I was like, How are they drawing it live? I don't understand. I'm so stupid,
Well,
MT.
I feel like kids
I
just
thought
have
they
a
were
big
just like
imagination.
drawing it as fast as they could. And people were like laughing at it. I'm so dumb, MT. I'm so stupid.
You're not dumb. You just had a huge imagination. I like that, man. That's totally fun. That's
So
a cute
ridiculous.
story.
Or like maybe they were just like playing the Flintstones and people were laughing. It's like, no, they're just pumping it in. That's all it is. That's all it is.
It's all movie magic, baby. Or cartoon magic. Or Flintstone magic from the prehistoric age.
That's right.
I don't know what I'm saying. But that is it for this episode of Big Question. Thank you. Thank you so much to Brandon, off-screen producer Brandon, for joining me on this episode. Follow him at Grin and Barrick on Twitter. You can follow me at MasterTainment on Twitter if you want to see me tweet some weird shit. And follow New Rockstars here on YouTube. And when you do, hit that notification bell so you can get notifications every time we upload a video. And if you got some big questions of your own, share them on our New Rockstars Discord server, but only if you are 18 years old and older. There's a link in the description, so click on that and join us today. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. We love you guys so much, and we'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
We love you.
Bye.